The MSG 150 presented by Chase. Time now to talk some football. And to do that, we bring in Jets radio analyst Marty Lyons, of course, one-time Jet as well. Thanks so much, Marty. Tell us why you're joining us from Dix Hills at Five Towns College.
Well, right now we got a project that we're trying to sell the college and to create more visibility and to give some of their students an opportunity to go out in the world of broadcast and broaden their education.
Marty Lyons Foundation does a lot of great work as well. And Marty, obviously your connection with the Jets as a broadcaster now, you've seen the offseason that they have had. It's had some incredible moments and it's had some drama. But now with the hiring of Joe Douglas, do you figure now stability back with this franchise?
Well, you know what, Bill, I hope so. I think it starts at the top. When you have that stability, you got Joe Douglas, you got Adam Gase. I think that that's going to be the stability that the team needs. And then if it trickles down into the players, you'll start to build that chemistry, that continuity that you need to have in the NFL to win. Biggest thing that the Jets have to understand, if you're a young team, you got to come out and you got to play that first month of September and you got to play the month of December. You got to start fast and you got to finish strong. And it seems like in the past, that's where they got themselves in trouble.
Marty, we've talked a lot about the Jets on offense here on this show. We have not touched at all hardly on the defense and the hiring of Greg Williams as a defensive coordinator. What might that mean for the Jets on defense this year?
Well, be honest with you, Bill, I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Greg for about 10 minutes. And after talking with him for 10 minutes, I actually looked at him and said, you know what, Greg, if I had anything left in my tank, I would want to play for you. He's just that type of guy that will motivate these players to take them to a new level. And you know what? He won't accept any excuses either. He's going to be very demanding, and the players are going to realize that the talent that they have, maybe they haven't been playing to the level that they're capable of playing at, but he's going to get it out of them.
Yeah, Jamal Adams said that he's the type of coach you'd run through a wall for. You know, that's the first impression that he got. So you know already Jamal, an emotional player, he'll get a lot out of him. How about Leonard Williams, knowing where he is right now, you know, as a player who's in a contract, you know, you don't know what he's going to be after the season, but Leonard Williams could really take a next step with him too, right?
Well, I think so. I think Leonard's a quality player and he's a quality individual. And any time that he can just match up one-on-one, I think he's going to win 75% of the time. I think the players have to hold themselves accountable to one another. I was very fortunate to play alongside of Joe Klecko for, you know, almost 10 years. And Joe always came into the meeting room and he demanded us to play to his level because his level was always going to be at the top of the chart.
And that's what you want, and everybody pushes each other, and that includes a young player like a Quinnen Williams who comes in, Alabama guy, of course. What do you see in him, and what do you think he can be right away in the NFL?
Well, I think he can be make a big impact on that defensive line because they can move him around. They can move him from the nose to the tackle to the end position. And I think he's young enough to understand the game. He came from Alabama, played for Nick Saban, so he's ready to play in the NFL. He's just got to get used to it's a long season. You got 4 preseason games, 16 regular season games. Hopefully you can make it to the playoffs, and you got to pace yourself. This is a full-time job. You're going to learn that you have to study films, and that's a requirement. If you don't study films, you're not going to be successful. You can't just pick up a playbook, look at it, and say, hey, I'm capable of doing that against anybody. It doesn't work that way in the NFL. But I think Quinnen's a good kid. He comes from a good family. He's got a big heart. He's young, energetic. And I think with Greg Williams, he can mold him into the player that he really wants him to be.
You know, speaking about being around the team and being up to speed on what's going on, Marty, what's your take on Le'Veon Bell and how things have transpired so far this offseason? Obviously, he was at the mandatory minicamp, but he has not attended the voluntary OTAs.
Well, I've never met Bell, but I think that he's going to make an impact on the offensive side of the ball. He's going to take a lot of pressure off Sam. He can come out of the ball, backfield. He'll be able to catch. He'll be able to run. I don't think that if it's called voluntary or involuntary camp, you should have to be there. It's a new system, new teammates. You would want them there. But I think a caliber of player like he is, I don't think it's going to matter.
Sam Darnold obviously is now going into his second year, and we're going to really watch him and see if he can build off of how he finished last season. Bell's going to be very important for him, obviously, but I found it interesting that Bell actually said that Sam is going to help make me better because of his mobility. Did he forget about Big Ben? Do you think that Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell can be a great 1-2 punch immediately?
Well, I do, but I think you got to look at the offensive line. You know, you're only going to be as good as that offensive line, the pass protection when they do the run blocking. So a lot of that is going to depend on how the chemistry is built with the offensive linemen, how the continuity is up there. Can they stay healthy? Can they play for 16 games? And, if the offensive line can do the job like they did when Kevin Mawai was in there, he's going into the Hall of Fame this year. That's the type of players that you need up front. And if you have that, then the backfield's going to be easy to set.
Marty, Alan touched a little bit on your charity off the top. You want to go into more detail about the charity? And also, we understand you have a nice big golf tournament coming up July 8th.
We do. We have a big golf tournament. It's our big fundraiser. It's going to be July 8th at Bethpage. And I've been operating a foundation for 37 years for terminally ill children. I was affected back in 1982 when my oldest son, Rocky, was born on March 4th. My dad suddenly died of a heart attack on March 8th. The little boy that I was a big brother to died on March 10th. So in a matter of 6 days, the man upstairs said, hey, you know what? I gave you God-given tools to make a difference, not just on the football field, but in the game of life. What are you going to do? And at that point, I reached out to people here on Long Island and teammates and said, you know what? Let's start a program for terminally ill children. Let's take their greatest wish in life, make it become a reality. And here I stand 37 years later. We now operate in 10 states. We've helped over 7,600 families. We've raised a little over $35 million. And, it's only because the people believed in the cause, they believed in the mission. And everybody has a chance to make a difference. And I'm just very fortunate, very blessed that I'm surrounded by good people. And unfortunately, it's a part of life. We're all going to pass away at one given point. But what are you going to do with your life? How are you going to make an impact? And, playing the game of football I was blessed to have good teammates, blessed to be able to accomplish what I did. But that wasn't the real reason why God put me here, Well,
I'll tell you what, Marty, we all, a lot of us who have experienced the foundation over the years and have worked with you on it know the great stuff that you've done with it. You're a giving person, and I've heard a story, maybe you can tell, about you talking with Quinnen about a jersey number for this season?
Yeah, I talked to Quinnen at the Taste of New York, and he kept on telling me, I thought he was saying ghost, so I didn't understand him. He says, man, you're the ghost. You're the ghost.
The ghost?
And I was fortunate that I have the ghost. And I kept thinking, what the heck is the ghost? Ghost to me is something that really doesn't exist, but does exist. I couldn't figure him out. So I asked Mike Quick, a good friend of mine, I said, Mike, have you ever heard of the term ghost? And he goes, I think he was saying goat. And you misunderstood him. And the more he said it I said, maybe he could. So anyway, he said, you're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. And I said, well, you know what? I appreciate that compliment. He goes, no, you are, man. Down in Alabama, you're the GOAT, man. He goes, I've always wanted to meet you. I said, well, I would have been honored if you had taken my number. I said, Leonard Williams has number 92. You can't have 92. I figured maybe you'll go up one or down one. Why didn't you take 93? And he goes, man, you're the GOAT. He goes, you're a legend. He goes, I can't take your number.
Wow.
He goes, I have to create my own legend. And when he said that, you really understood the quality of individual that he really is. And that's the way he felt. I don't ever look at myself as a GOAT. I've been called worse, but it was truly a compliment, and it was happy. I was happy to hear that.
That's a great story, and it says a lot about Q also. It really does. That even though you offered it, he still says, no, I got to make my own legend. That's terrific.
And we're grateful that you're not a ghost for the purposes of this interview. Marty,
yeah.
Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you. And if you're free, July 8th, visit us out there at Bethpage Golf Course. Come out, hit the golf ball. If you can't, just come out for dinner. You guys would be great to have there.
Marty, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.